Hi everyone, welcome back to Keeping Up with the Chaldeans. Today's episode is made possible by the generosity of our friend George Abro over at Keystone. We want to thank him for his generous sponsorship. Today we have Norman Shaya, Patrick Dabish of Frontrunners Podcast. It's a sports and entertainment, and they cover a lot of other topics. Why don't you guys start off by, and we have my friend Junior here.
Hi, Junior.
Yesterday was Junior's birthday.
Happy birthday, Junior. Happy birthday, man.
21. Yeah, 21 and a half.
All over
21 and a half. Right.
21 and a half.
I want to thank you guys for being on.
Thanks for having us.
Sure thing. Why don't you guys start off by just introducing yourselves and then kind of talking a little bit about what Frontrunners is.
Yeah, sure. You want to go? Yeah. I'm Patrick Dabish, big sports guy. Frontrunners Podcast is something that Norm came to the forefront with. It's something that I was thinking about doing for the longest time, and Norm put the wheels in motion. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm Norm. I came up with the idea maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and it was always a passion of mine. You know, sports has always been something that I really gravitated towards ever since I was a little kid. And actually, Pat and I were actually introduced, maybe 10 years ago by a mutual friend because they knew that we liked sports so much and that we could, communicate and talk about it and stuff. And, we ran into each other off and on. And then a few years ago, we actually started working together. And we've been working with each other ever since. And I approached him, sometime last year. And I said, hey, look, I want to do this. I don't know where it's going to go, but I want to do it. I want to be able to talk and voice our opinions about topics in the sports world. And Pat was all in, and we've done 19 episodes already, and we're looking for big things in 2020. So it's basically what we do.
Nice. So tell us how it got started. Like not just you had an idea and you brought it to him, but the workings of putting it actually together, miking it up. How did you know how to do this?
So the initial idea was, all right, well, I want to record. I want to see what outlets we can put it on, right? Apple, Google, whatever the case may be. So I did some research to figure out what basics you needed for a podcast, right? And you need an RSS feed, which is a podcast host, and you guys obviously know how that works. So you record it and you upload it to the RSS feed, and then it gets put on all the outlets that you're hooked up to. Sure. As far as the miking component, we don't have any equipment, so we rent studio time. We rent studio time at Echo Network in Royal Oak. Shout out Jay Nalu. We shout him out at the end of every show. He's fantastic. Awesome. So we rent studio space every Tuesday, and we basically will prepare our content, throughout the week, right? And
based off of what? Like when this content you're preparing, is it off of what goes on through the week of sports itself? And then you're preparing it. Okay. Yeah. Do you anything on local levels? Do you guys do as preparation, or is it just mostly like your major sports right now?
It's going to be on a national scale. Obviously, if there's something that is in the national news that has something to do with our local teams,
we
definitely touch on it. Well, obviously, we'll delve into it. I remember specifically we had some Jim Harbaugh stuff. We talked about Michigan, Ohio State. We've talked about the Lions. Obviously,
Matt Patricia stuff.
Ever messed with the high school sports at all? Something?
No, not really. I think when I created this, I created it based off of the things that I like.
Sure.
And the best part about it is that Pat, my partner, is kind of in the same boat in terms of what he follows and what he likes to talk about and his opinions on certain things. So it works really, really well.
Isn't that kind of ironic that we were heavily invested into soccer as the sports of us coming in from Iraq and our families moving to here, and now we're like such crazy fanatics. And the sports that like the Chaldeans are into, and the sports that they're playing now too, like some of the young kids that are becoming athletes. So it's definitely changed from what we grew up with. I'm not well versed on sports itself, you know what I'm saying, overall. But I do follow up when it comes time. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
You get to come for playoffs, and then you get to come in for the championship games and all that too. But throughout the season, I think the only thing I really messed with was baseball. You can find me on the 2014 Topps baseball card.
Okay.
If you look at it from Miguel Cabrera, I'm in the background. you can see me dropping
No
the
way.
F-bomb. Yeah, it's on the Topps baseball card.
Wow.
I was in the front row. He cracked the walk-off
Yeah.
in the 9th inning. And I have it on video, and I was telling my cousin, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's not. And I said, it's going to happen like that, you know. And first one was a strike, and then the second one, he cracked it. And I'm in there going, you know, you can see me. You can see me. So if you look it up, you'll see that.
Yeah,
I'm on that.
I will have to.
Yep.
I'll have to look that
It's
up.
Topps 2014.
But to your point, though, like for someone like yourself that isn't very well versed in sports,
Yep.
this podcast is good for someone like yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I was
You know what I mean? Because we
All the
delve delve into a number of different topics, and even if you don't know who number 25 on the New Orleans Saints is or whatever the case may be, you can still listen to the podcast and get a rough idea of what's going on in the sports world.
Sure.
With a lot of the prevalent topics like playoffs and breaking news headlines and free agency moves and opinions on certain things that may be happening in the sports world. So even if you're not a sports fanatic like Pat and Anthony and I would be, it's still a good show for you to be able to tune into.
To get out.
And even the women that want to just kind of talk shop or talk sports at work or the water, the water cooler, they can listen and then they can just use it as cheat sheet.
Exactly. Because it's the most relevant stuff that happens.
Yeah, it's the
throughout
biggest conversation opener, the breaker.
It's very
of anything.
mainstream.
Yeah, it is, to be able to talk sports. And even women want to jump into it. It's funny now, like, I see some of my women cousins now doing fantasy football.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm hearing husband and wife sitting there competing against each other. And I'm like, what the hell?
Because they get the kids involved, you know?
Yeah.
It's great. Fantasy's done a lot for the gambling world or the sports world or the football world. But first, I want to just send my condolences and my sympathy for you guys coming out with a sports podcast when the Detroit sports scene is so fucking dead right now.
We appreciate that,
man.
We appreciate
Thank you, man. It's rough.
Wow. Yeah, it's been only a couple of years. Like last year, we didn't even make it. Nobody made it to any playoffs last year, right?
I can never remember a time where Detroit sports is as bad as it is right now.
Never, ever.
You know, I'll tell you one time. It broke my heart to go back to back at the World Series for Tigers, right? like I'm saying, like that's kind of like when it kind of irritated me. I went there. We had seats for multiple times, and it's like, shit. First one was like okay. Second one was like a straight sweep, and it's like, holy cow. And then it seems like from like in the last 10 years, our teams have dwindled a little bit too.
I think ever since that point, like once that team got started. Once they started breaking up that team,
from Fielder
everything just went downhill, man.
And I think we talked about it at one point. I think you can even date back to the early to mid 80s. Mm-hmm. At some point, there was always a Detroit team that was somewhat relevant.
Always,
right?
Oh yeah.
Whether it was in a championship race or at least
guaranteed
competitive enough to where you want to invest money or invest time to watch these teams.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think you can date back to the early to mid 80s with the Tigers.
Yep.
You brought it up.
Yep.
You get to the 80s and early 90s, Bad Boy Pistons, Red Wings in the 90s. The Lions were playoff contenders, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a lot of success, but they were at least relevant.
In the 90s, yep.
Early 2000s, you had the Pistons on the come up. You had the Red Wings still competitive.
Yep.
Tigers. And then...
Wait a minute, we won 2 championships under one roof. One city. We had Red Wings won and Pistons won.
Yeah.
There was multiple parades and parties
You even
going
had
on.
the Detroit Shock win championships. The WNBA.
Yeah.
That's when you had it... that's when you had it huge. But I think in the last maybe 5 to 7 years, it's just become so irrelevant.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, from a guy like me, from this standpoint, who's not as knowledgeable as you guys, I'd be the audience saying, point the fingers at the owners, right? It's the owners. They're bad management.
I was just gonna say that. You took the words right out of my mouth.
That's what I was gonna get to. It's like now you're seeing. So because you do these podcasts, you guys are pretty well versed in this, and you guys educate yourself weekly. Do you fault a lot of on the owners? Do you say Martha needs to go and the Ford family needs to change? Do we talk about the Illiches need to bring new management? Like how,
I mean the way that I see it, I don't know how you feel about it, Pat, but I think with the owners that have passed, right? Mike Illich, Bill Davidson.
Yep.
You had these teams that had great ownership. You had them build state-of-the-art arenas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they were willing to invest money, invest time, invest resources into making that team successful. Because they
had a passion.
Yeah, they had a passion for it, right? Now you have...
Now it's a business.
Now it's a business, and you have a guy like Tom Gores, the owner of the Pistons.
Yeah.
Barely at the games. You know,
Yeah.
he's a I think he's
West
a real
Coast
estate
guy.
or he's a West Coast real estate mogul,
He's an
right?
absentee owner.
He bought the team to buy the team
As an investment.
as an investment, right?
Yep.
And then you look at the Illich family, you really don't get the notion that they want to be a part of this.
Not anymore.
Not
No,
anymore,
no.
right?
Not after
But
Mike's gone.
right, but you look at a guy like Mike Illich, and he was
All in.
all in,
True.
all in on everything,
Even up until the day he passed.
even up until the day he passed.
Yep.
So
I think that's one of the dangers of allowing one single owner
Yeah.
own two teams,
Yeah.
Yeah.
two major franchises.
Because what happened with his legacy leaving us,
Yeah, that's it.
it hurts two teams.
Yeah, it hurts
Exactly.
two
It
teams.
hurts two
yeah.
teams.
And you look at
Little Caesars is booming though.
hot and readies are
Ready's
always
still
clutch,
booming.
but they're not going to win you. They're not going to win you games.
No, they're
not
not.
going to win
They're
you
not
games.
going to win.
But you look at a team like the Pistons with you mentioned an absentee owner.
Yep.
You look at the Ford family. Do they really care about that team, right? And then
Well,
you look.
commercials on that.
Yeah,
That's all they
The Fords have always just been business. Like it's
I
always
agree.
been.
I
It's
agree.
always been
It's
business.
a family business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a family business. And then you look at the Illich family with the Red Wings and the Tigers. You've really got all four of your major sports with owners that probably don't care that much about
Yeah.
their teams as much as their predecessors did. So
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it, and I
Doesn't
think
that
that's
bother
amazing.
guys like you guys, like who
course.
so you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like,
I've rarely met anybody as opinionated about Detroit sports as Pat.
Yeah, dude, it's
It's
I
kinda
know
pisses
it
you off.
upsets us.
No, look at the trickle effect, which becomes a river effect. You start having teams falter. You start losing numbers in the stadiums. You start losing numbers in the businesses surrounding those stadiums. You start losing people coming to our stadiums from out of state to start watching because it's just going to be we'll just watch it on TV because they're going to get blown out. You know?
For people from out of state, that we get more of them in because they get the better seats. They get to see their home team in a better seat because none of our people go.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
And but still in the overall, you're still so for every 2 Detroit fans you're losing, you're trying to gain 1 out of town. You're still losing the
of
other.
course,
You know?
Still
So-
losing
yeah,
50% of the fan
yeah.
It's not economically stable.
No.
I mean, it's not.
It's
gonna-
it was to the point how crazy it was that Little Caesars Arena had to change their seats. The color
Yeah.
went
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
what was
From
it,
red.
red to black.
Red
Yeah.
black.
You know,
Because
because
it looks
they-
so bad on TV because
yeah.
there's so many empty seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the teams that's exempt from that is the Lions.
Lions, yes.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. You go there on a Sunday.
Yep.
That place
Slam.
is packed.
Yeah.
No matter how shitty they are.
We
people
have a
will
lot of
fill
beer
the
drinkers
seats.
in Michigan.
Well, because there's
Yeah,
only
we do.
12. There's only
Only
there's
68
eight
games.
Yeah.
And people,
Well, plus
people
the
are trying
whole
to get their fix in.
when I see the environment on that level, you know, when you take Comerica Park, it's beautiful. You can wrap around. There's
Yeah.
so many amenities in that park.
Yeah.
This one, you're drinking, you're getting smashed, and it's just a rowdy rah
Yeah,
rah.
And that's,
It is.
and that's the
It
thing.
is.
Like if seats are being filled and their pockets are being filled, what motivates them to really change?
And also it's not always, but it's almost always on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
family day.
You got more
And-
people available. You have
Exactly.
more people. Have more families
And
that
it's
are
a
available.
day
to spend
game.
the day
It's
together.
not. It's not in the evening
Yeah.
like some of the other games.
Because they're not
You
going to
don't
get
have-
a bunch of primetime games.
Right.
No, not.
They were for a little bit there, man.
Yeah.
But
But
with Megatron, he brought a lot of excitement.
yeah, he did.
So with your guys' podcast, are our viewers able to call in during the show, or is this you guys do what you have to, then you post it up later, and then you get people's comments and reviews and stuff after, or is there any type of like interaction while you? guys are
It'll
live?
be the latter, right? So we
Okay.
don't we don't record it live. So
Sure.
we'll record it and then we'll go through the editing process.
Gotcha.
And then we'll upload it. So we do a Tuesday recording.
Yep.
And then we edit Tuesday night and then we'll upload it Wednesday morning.
Okay.
How much editing do you guys do?
It's actually not that much.
Not much, right?
Yeah, so a lot of it, and one of the best things about Pat and I's kind of relationship, if you will, is that we play off each other very, very well. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very organic, very natural conversation. So there's very rare editing that needs to be executed.
Yeah,
Right.
like we do, say kind of with us. You flow
Yeah.
so well
Yes.
that you just you're less likely to have to edit it. And that comes with confidence and just
Yeah.
being
Repetition.
Yeah.
We're getting more comfortable with it.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I would probably say in the last maybe 6 to 8 shows,
Yep.
there's been very little editing.
And
Mainly
what-
because, you listen to our first episode and then you listen to our 19th episode,
Sure.
which was this past week.
Yep.
It's different.
Yep.
It's way different. It's way more natural. It flows a lot better, and it's really cut down our editing time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday morning we upload, and we blast it on social media as best as we can. The social media for the actual podcast, and then our personal social medias. we do our best to try to get the word out and try to get as much interaction as possible.
When did you guys drop your first episode?
It was
19 weeks ago.
Yeah, it would have been 19 weeks
Well, I'm
ago.
saying,
Yeah.
you know, they could. I don't know if there was gaps or whatever, or they started, but 19 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
so
right
it's
after
5-6
week 1 of the
months
football
ago.
season.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's been each of your favorite episodes on your podcast?
NBA preview for me.
NBA preview was good. Honestly, I liked one of the most recent ones, when the playoffs first started.
Oh, yeah.
We talked
NFL?
about all the
Yeah.
playoffs first started.
Yeah, that would have been
like-
episode 17 or 18.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
I think the NBA preview for me was my favorite because I'm a big NBA guy. Like, as much as I know about football, as much as I know about the other sports, it's always been basketball for me.
Sure.
And honestly, I have my dad to thank for that because back in the day,
That's where they took us.
it's when they took us. And I remember sitting on my dad's lap. I was like 4 or 5 years old, watching the Bad Boy Pistons in the middle of the
crazy.
season.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom after
Where?
the first quarter.
Was it at the Palace? Or
No, it was
Pontiac.
it was at our house or at the games or whatever.
But I'm
right?
saying that was when Bad Boys were on. That was Pontiac Silverdome,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were
After
playing at the
the
Palace.
Silverdome.
They were at the.
Yeah, they were
okay.
at the time they were at the Palace.
Okay.
But I remember sitting with my dad watching the games, and then it was obviously a school night, so my mom would tell me, after the first quarter, you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'd have to go to sleep, and I'd miss the last 3 quarters, but I'd always like go into bed wondering, all right, are they going to win? Are they going to lose? And then I would be,
That's awesome.
I would ask my dad, did they win? Did they lose? And then as I got older,
Yeah.
more technological age, I would be able to use like my computer to check highlights and stuff like that. But it was always basketball for me. And, for us to be able to do an NBA preview and kind of talk about things that I'm opinionated about and how certain players are going to play and certain teams are going to perform and stuff like that, that was a blast for me.
Yeah. Plus, there was a lot of change in the NBA offseason.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
On the show.
A lot of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you guys make your predictions?
For the
For the
NBA
NBA,
season?
yeah.
Yeah. I picked Clippers over Sixers. So I got the Clippers and the Sixers in the finals. Yeah.
Still looking good.
It still looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen. I mean, my Sixers pick doesn't look that great because Milwaukee's playing as well as they're playing, but
Yeah.
anything could happen.
But
believe
Sixers
I had-
beat them this year.
They did. They
Yeah.
did. It was Christmas Day. if I'm not
Convincingly,
mistaken.
too.
I
Yeah.
believe I had Lakers from the West. And I want to say,
I think you had the
I
Sixers.
think I had the Sixers as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Lakers, Sixers.
They announced today something about Drummond having to forcefully leave, or they got no other choice, but they got to get rid of him from Pistons, right?
Have a nice day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
time, man. It's time to start over with that.
I was gonna say, what do you think it would take for us to clean up over at the?
A lot.
Dude,
We got-
if you
we
can
got
get-
great
it
It starts
design.
with that. It starts
If
with
Starts with that too, though.
I
yeah,
would
agree.
trade him for a chicken sandwich. Get him out of here.
I mean, hot and ready.
Yeah. Or hot and ready.
Yeah,
Shout out to
give me
us.
a hot
Well,
and ready.
I mean, so that there's no point in trading him for a chicken sandwich because he's gone anyway.
No, that is the point. You want to be able to get rid of him to get something for
Exactly.
him.
Yeah,
Because
but
he's
that-
going to opt
yeah,
out.
yeah.
He's
He's
going
gonna opt out. He's
regardless.
gone.
Of
He said it.
course.
He said it in the beginning
What
of
does
the
that mean?
season.
What does that mean? Like when somebody opts out?
So he's in a position with his contract where he's got a player option. So a player option allows him to forego the remaining year of his salary in his contract, and then he can become a free agent. As a free agent, he's free to sign with any team that he wants. The challenge that the Pistons are in is that all signs point to him opting out. So if you don't trade him by the end of the trade deadline, which is next month, he opts out. He's a free agent. He walks. You don't get anything for him.
Sure.
Could
sure,
walk.
Okay.
He could walk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because he can opt in as well.
he could opt in,
Yeah.
but I think he could get a longer term deal somewhere else.
Okay.
And the rumors are floating around that he could be dealt. I think Atlanta was one of the teams that was rumored to be.
There's quite a few of them.
Yeah, there were a few, but in my opinion, if all signs are pointing to him leaving at the end of the season, you got to get what you can get
of
for
course.
him,
Regardless of what it is.
Yeah, doesn't matter what it is. And I mean, I think that one of the rumors was a first round pick, protected first round pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point,
Yeah,
first round pick's a first round pick. You take it.
Exactly. You
Agreed.
take it.
So
And stuff like that changes the dynamics of a team. Just individuals, just onesies, twosies.
Not one.
leaving.
No.
no, I think there's a trickle down effect. Like if you look at the Pistons, for example, right now,
Yep.
their
Is
star
Dumars-
Blake.
Is Dumar still on?
No, he's
No,
been
he's
been
been
gone
okay.
for a
He's
while.
been gone
But
for a while.
I think he's in Orlando.
Yes.
I think he's
Yeah,
an executive in Orlando.
Yep.
But back to the Pistons, so there is a trickle down effect. So right now, their star player Blake Griffin had knee surgery.
Yep.
He's probably
Done
out for the season. He's out for the
He's
year.
definitely out for the year.
Right, and then now you have your best player that's out of the equation. Now you're going to trade your second best player. You might trade Derrick Rose, whatever value you can get from him. But at that point, you're really in a rebuild, right? You're really in a tank, is what they call it.
Yeah.
But then it'll put you in a position for a better cap space, high draft pick.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have a lot of
It
money
lets
coming
you-
off the books
Yeah,
this year.
it lets you start over.
A lot.
So I think there's definitely a trickle-down effect, but I think this is the time for them to
refix.
to really kind of strip it down and build it back up.
Have you guys had anybody on the show, any guests by any chance, and from sports guests or
Not yet.
coaches or anything?
Yeah, not
No.
yet.
You guys plan to, or is that like where it's heading to, or is it just gonna strictly be you two just doing what you got to do and giving your weekly updates?
I don't know. We've been undecided about it. I think right now, because it's so early, it's very early in our tenure. I think we want to be able to build it up to the point where people will want to be on the show. You know what I mean? You know, we want to be able to get enough exposure where people will say, "Hey, this is a cool show.
Sure.
We want to get on it. We want to talk to these guys."
Or maybe someone picks it up.
And maybe somebody picks it up. And we joked about it.
We did
when we recorded our last show. Like, oh, we want to get picked up by Bleacher Report, or we want to get picked up by, whoever.
You never know, man.
No, you don't.
It's the same essence, just to give you a push and motivation.
Yeah.
It's what him and I talked about just last night. I said to him, man, did you think, where we would be, 6 months later at this point with us and stuff? And it's like, it's blazing right now. It's moving the way it needs to be. So if you stick with it, you keep giving great content out there, I don't see it being an issue. But you might be picked up. And if it's not, there's another one underneath Bleacher that could pick you locally.
I think Pat and I share the same sentiment about it. At the end of the day, it's just fun.
Yeah.
So it's your hobby.
It's fun, man.
Exactly.
It's a hobby.
Yep.
It's fun for us to do. It's fun for us to just BS about sports.
Yep.
It's like you're sitting at a nadi, or you're sitting at you're sitting in front of the TV on a Sunday talking chop about football or whatever. It's just fun to do.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to portray it as such, nothing more, nothing less, and give our viewers and our listeners something that they can reference if they're looking for information about sports. That's what it is.
Now
right
now that you brought it to my attention, this is just like all bullshit aside, but I would listen to you guys, your show now, just to have the ability to be at a topic, to be able to conversate with people when the topic comes up, because like you said, it's one of the biggest things you can open up in conversation in this country.
It is.
In the world, actually, I should say.
It's really, I think it's sports and music. I think is the generic language of people, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what demographic you are.
Yeah.
If you're a sports fan, you're gonna have an opinion with somebody else.
Yep.
And it's gonna be a conversation.
Well, Anthony, you brought something up earlier. You were talking about how like fantasy football and the gambling world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just off the pod topic, but in regards still to sports as a whole, we got now online. Sports betting here in Michigan, right?
Yep.
You're able to go to the casinos now, and you're able to put down an ante on these games and stuff, right? So a couple things. One, I mean, how beneficial is that going to be for us as a whole, to have that? I mean, does that entice more business to run through and revenue for our state, or is it for our cities? I mean, like do you guys say that's a good thing or a bad thing that we inherited something like that?
I'm gonna say it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing as long as it's within reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think everything is good in moderation.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And it's happening anyway. Why not?
It is happening anyway.
Why not get a tax benefit from it?
I look at it similarly to like the marijuana laws, right?
Yep.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why
Might as
not
well
tax
make
it? Why not make some money off of it?
Yep.
Why not make it legal? Why not? You're going to reduce crime or whatever the case may be.
So the craziest thing is because when fantasy football was around, the most difficult when it is around, when I used to have a full staff on deck working, it was the most impossible thing to keep concentration on those boys.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I would be up front. We would be selling a phone, and I would start with the guy for a second, and then one of my guys would be next to me. And then an alert goes off on their phone. They run back, and I'm trying to close a 3-line deal. And I cut the corner in the back, and I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm mouthing. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And they're doing me like this while they're on the phone with them because the trades are coming through, and you got to make a quick change and this and that. They said that when fantasy football goes on, the loss of revenue from production is in the millions and millions of dollars of loss of production because of all the focus that's on
it's funny. So like Pat and I are in the wireless industry. You can relate, obviously. Honestly, what I do, like if I'm conversing with a customer, if I'm going through their phone to kind of, if I'm doing something on their device,
and stuff,
if I see a sports app or a fantasy app, you better believe I'm having that conversation with that customer.
Yeah.
How's your fantasy team doing?
Yeah.
How's this? How's that?
It's a great icebreaker.
And it's a great icebreaker.
Yeah.
And anybody that plays fantasy, you want to volunteer your information, right?
Oh,
You want to voluntarily have that conversation.
There's not a soul that plays fantasy that doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
They all want to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of.
You guys want to talk about your day jobs at all?
Yeah, no, you can start.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been in the wireless industry for a long time. Back started with Sprint. Went on the wholesale side for a little bit, and been back on the retail side for the last. Next month will be 4 years. I've been with MMS, Midwest Mobility Solutions at AT&T, and it's what I know, man. It's I like helping customers.
Yeah.
I'm just a people person.
That's
You
instilled
looking for
in us.
help at all?
It really is. I'm sorry.
You're looking for help at all?
Right now, no.
Salespeople, anything?
It's
No,
a little
everyone's good?
it's a little slow right now. January usually usually dies down.
Yep.
Picks
Up usually around spring break because around that
Yeah.
between the taxes and
Tax
spring break
season.
time.
Yep.
People are always trying to get their stuff, get it going, so that when they go on vacations, they got the best phones to take
Best
the best
cameras,
pictures.
all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's a little
Yeah.
slower. All my majority of my employees are part time, and so they're all back in school right now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, I've been in the business for 15 years. Pat and I actually work for the same company. I'm a district manager with our company, so I oversee half a dozen stores in the Metro Detroit area. It's same thing, man. I love what I do. I love the people. I love my company. I love the people that I work for, people that I work with. But most of all, in my years of doing this, I've always found that I want to be able to do what's best for the person that I'm in front of,
Yes.
right? And it's not just in business; it's just in life in general, right? You always want people's best interest at the forefront,
Yeah.
and I think that's what makes me successful at what I do, not just from a customer perspective, but from an employee perspective when I'm training and I'm coaching and developing my team. So that's a big that's a big thing for
That's
me.
huge,
It's
'cause-
awesome. It's huge.
Listen, you got to remember, we've been on every other side of the counter in no matter whatever business. So it's like as we're stood there, did we want to be treated that bad? Did we want to be pushed away that bad? You know. So it's like we always related, like, because look always how we kind of always look at each other like. All right, waitress, man, come sit down, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, she ain't coming. It's like you say, right? What's the first thing you say in your head as a Chaldean? If that was me running this restaurant, if that was me on this,
I drive my wife
100%.
crazy with that.
Yeah.
Because
We all
my
do.
wife, I love her, but when it comes to customer service, when it comes to
we're
professionalism,
driven different, man.
I'm a stickler for it. And if I'm not
Same.
being treated the way that I would treat
You feel
that
it.
individual
You feel
in
it.
that position,
100%.
I'm going to feel it. And
Immediately.
conversely, if I get a great customer experience,
Yep.
I let that person know, hey, you did a great job. I'll try to poach them. Hey, if you want to make more money, if you want to do well, if you
No
want to
doubt.
work in a company that you can grow with and this and that, I try to recruit them as best I can. But it's just it's common courtesy, man.
Sure.
It's just common courtesy.
So you-
Treat people with respect.
So you brought up the wives.
Yeah.
You want to give them a shout out and for putting up with your sports minds going off.
Shout out my
million.
wife Vivian. I love you. Thank you for dealing with me on Sundays during football season.
Yeah, right.
And when I'm on my phone like this, I'm not ignoring you. Most of it is work related.
Yeah.
We can multitask. Don't forget.
We can.
We're strong.
She doesn't believe I
multitask-
can, though.
No, we can.
She wants my undivided attention, and I understand that. But I can multitask. She just doesn't believe me.
Yeah, my wife is great, man. Shout out Monique one time. She knew from the start, right when we met, how big of a sports fan I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she puts up with it. She knows
So
that.
she has a problem with it. It's her problem right now.
Exactly.
She knew from the jump.
Yep, she knew from the jump that, once football season starts, Sundays are my day.
Yeah.
You know? So anytime there's like a family function or anything
Sure.
like that going on,
It's canceled.
it's I'm
There's an
everybody knows
X.
I'm not
Or
going to
she's
be
flying
there.
solo.
There's an X for
Exactly.
15,
Solo.
Yeah.
15 weeks. There's an X on
Yep.
Sunday just showing up. so-
Exactly. So
Yes.
she's the best, man.
You guys remember that Lions? I think it was a Tigers playing game,
Yeah,
and the
played Twins.
Lions.
It was a Monday night game.
Yeah, Monday night game. And I posted something on social that day. It was like, ladies, wives, women out there, this is Sex in the City,
Yeah.
Oscars, Grammys, all of it.
VMAs, all of it.
All of
rolled
it
into one.
rolled into one. So
Yeah.
please cut your husbands, your boyfriends, your brothers, uncles, some slack.
No.
This is our day. This is our goal. This
Oh, yeah.
is the day that we
Yeah, man.
dream about.
You're talking about the Monday night the Chicago game.
Did they play the
Was
Bears
it-
Was it the
year?
Bears? I think we played the
don't
Bears.
remember. I was so wasted.
Yeah, and
I know I was at the Bears game.
yeah, Tigers were playing.
The Twins. I think it was the Twins.
No, I think it was
It
Nelson.
was-
wherever
it was the
Nelson
playoffs,
Cruz was
right?
playing.
Was it the Rangers?
Texas.
Might have been Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure that's when Nelson Cruz hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball off Verlander for a home run.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like about 5-6 years ago.
No, longer.
No, I
Longer
think
than
it
that.
might have
11.
been like.
I had the RV. We put the RV in that church parking lot
Yeah, it was
there.
either 11 or 12.
And we were
What, the church off Woodward?
yeah.
Right by
off
Cook-
lot
yeah,
one.
yeah, America?
Yeah.
Lot one, lot one or lot two.
We were there for too many hours.
I remember the Monday night game against Chicago. We tailgated all day, and I actually got sold fake tickets to that game.
No way.
Promise.
I got hit one time with a fake ticket.
But we got in.
Did
So
you?
yeah, so my boy works in Detroit, and somebody approached him to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And they were hard tickets. Like it had the Ticketmaster logo on it and everything.
Yeah.
And we thought for sure we were getting in. So we get into the line. We've been tailgating. We've been drinking, obviously. So we're getting into the line, and this like 18, 19-year-old is scanning all the tickets. So he's trying to scan the ticket, and the ticket doesn't work. And he's looking at us, and he's looking at all the people behind us, and he's like,
Go ahead.
all right, man, go ahead. Get it. So we get in, and we realized, all right, we got. So the tickets were like 15 rows up, 20-yard line, like A1 tickets.
Yeah.
So we get there, we're sitting down, and we get to the seats, and there are these 3 old women sitting there. And I said, I think you're in our seat.
Yeah.
She's like, sweetheart, our husbands own these seats, and they've owned them for about 15 years. You're in the wrong seat.
Oh.
Wow.
So she's like, you guys should go to security. And my buddy's sitting next to me, and he's drunk as hell. He's like, you should go to effing security.
Oh,
and we
jeez.
walked upstairs. So we spent the whole game
Standing
trying to
up,
find,
bouncing around.
bouncing around
Yeah.
and this and that. We got caught a couple times. Hey, you're in our seats. All right, sorry, we'll get up. And I remember we were getting down, I think it was maybe like 35, 40-yard line. We sat down. There was a bunch of seats that were empty, and we sat down. And 30 seconds later, Javed Best broke that touchdown in the fourth quarter, and the whole place went bonkers.
It was
And
definitely on there.
we watched the rest of that game, and it was such a great experience. But I'll never forget that day because of
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
fun
that we
though.
got
But
got.
that, listen, silly things like that turn out to be like a good story and fun like that. You know.
We used to roll probably 8 or 10 or 12 deep with like 7 or 8 tickets,
Yeah.
and we used to just hand them, and then everybody just go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody just ball.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? That a lot of people
Much
do
a
that at
game.
Silverdome.
Yeah.
Silverdome, it was a lot
Oh
easier.
man,
to
that was
do
my
that.
mom at Wave Pool.
We've done it at the Palace. We've done it at Joe Louis many
Yeah.
times.
I think you can get away with that at the older stadiums.
Oh yeah.
The newer stadiums with newer technology, like
Yeah.
you mentioned,
Right,
Silverdome.
Silverdome.
Well, we can do that at
They got to
LCA.
scan everybody.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah, you
Oh,
couldn't
trust
do that
me,
at LCA.
my dad got us into quite a few games at the Silverdome without tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Silverdome, man.
It's like State
I was
Fair.
the-
We used to go under the fence.
That was another. My mom. I'm telling you, the
Yeah.
whole wave pool thing was changed because of my mom.
I remember doing that at Wake
Listen,
Pool.
you guys, it was like worse than running for the border, bro.
Yeah,
She was
right.
pulling up,
Yeah.
and she was just like yelling, yella. You know
Let's
what
go,
I'm
go,
saying?
go.
They're just running, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
and there we would just get in.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely changed the rules on that one. I was at the Silverdome when WWF was there for. I was the one they
Get
broke the
out.
record.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
93,000 plus were there when Hogan body slammed Andre the
Andre the
Giant over
Giant.
there. Yep.
That must have been an
Yeah, it
unforgettable
was the most
something, yeah, that's
unbelievable.
something
When I
you'll never
saw the
forget.
amount, I remember I was like 12 years old or whatever at that time. The camera flashes going off in the building at
Oh
that
my
time.
God, I
Oh
can
yeah,
only
yeah.
imagine.
I remember you guys had those. We had those disposables.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that
The
time.
Kodak disposable
Yeah, the
cameras,
Kodak.
yellow
Yeah,
and green
yeah,
ones.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The Kodak disposables.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the future of you guys? Where do you plan? I know it's hobby now,
Yeah.
but even hobbies can turn into something bigger at some point in time. Do you project to see anything like that out of you guys, out of your your podcast? I mean, do you want to get some good guests on that would maybe make that impact? That's
Yeah,
how
that's
we
the
may, that's
plan.
how we may
Yeah.
get you to Bleacher,
That's the
right?
plan.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before. Maybe having some of our friends on the show.
Yeah.
Just to kind of do what we're doing right now. You
Yeah,
know,
switch
just
it
kind
up
of
a little
talk
bit.
and BS a little bit, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of what we want to do, let's say like in 2020,
Yeah.
we want to be able to go live. We want to be able to have a YouTube channel, right? We want to
Sure.
be able to have our own equipment and have our own cameras and things
Yep.
like that and record remotely.
Yep.
But I think right now we're in the genesis of it all right now.
Sure.
And we want to kind of see where it goes. We want to perfect what we can perfect right now and
Yeah.
then implement something that's going to challenge us. perfect that portion and then implement something else that can challenge us.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, right now we're taking it one day at a time. We're riding the wave, and
What's your main audience range in age? Are you getting your young teens? Are you getting your mid-20s? Are you up to the 40s, 50s? Do you pay attention to some of your analytics
yeah.
to see what you're getting?
SoundCloud, which is the podcast host that we use,
Yep.
it gives us analytics through their Pulse app.
And what's your demographics showing?
So it doesn't really show demographic as much. It just shows viewership and listenership.
Okay.
As far as the location of the viewers and listeners. So the majority of them are obviously in the Metro Detroit area, but we've gotten listeners in Cleveland, we've gotten listeners in San Francisco, we've gotten listeners down south, we've got
That's so cool, man.
in Texas.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when we had somebody in Greece that was listening to it.
Well, your show is your audience is anyone.
It's unlimited.
Pretty much.
So
It's unlimited.
diversified.
For us, it's a little,
Unbelievable.
a little more niche. It's
Yeah.
Chaldeans, and people that want to know about Chaldeans. But for you guys, man, anyone can. I mean,
Yeah.
yours travels.
Yeah, and that's what we were in agreement with whether to do like a local sports
local's not the way
or
to
the
go.
national way,
Especially
but
now.
the national way was the way to go, and I think that's
for
why
sure.
we're getting
You know
Yeah.
what would
the traction.
Just a thought, just from the outside.
Yeah.
When you say local, past local meaning our local sports teams on the major level.
Yeah.
Get some of these kids are badass, man. There's some Chaldean kids that are like I went to St. Mary's, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Besides, forget the Chaldeans, because it wasn't really at that time. There's a lot of athletes that came from there, went to college and became pro. That did. It's almost cool to capture some of their stories as they're coming along, and just to even see them on your guys' show, even here and there.
I think the premise of their show is a little different than that. They're talking
about weekly report.
yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying like a scorecard of the kids, like, man, he dominated this game. He had these
Yeah,
many
to talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to have him on, you don't know if he's going to be able to carry a conversation, be part of the conversation. It's a little different.
Yeah. I mean, the options obviously
Sure.
always
Yeah,
available,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Do like
And-
segments.
Yeah, and I think that the thing to keep in mind the most is that we want to be able to cast as wide of a net as possible.
Of course.
Yeah.
From a listenership and viewership perspective. So
Like, you ever seen like Double XL magazine when they
Yeah,
had
oh,
like
yeah.
the up and coming freshman rappers?
yeah.
It's like almost like you're saying you're gonna say, man, this star-studded kid coming out of Brother Rice, man, he's got some impact.
Yeah.
Looks like this kid can go pro the way he's coming.
Yeah.
Just throwing shots out, because what it is, I'm just saying, like, the kids these days, it's like when you get them involved into things, it seems to steamroll things so much faster.
Yeah.
It morphs into something bigger because they end up bringing like a mass of others with them.
And I think that's the advantage
Yeah.
you have in the age that we live in, right? The
Yeah.
digital age, social media age.
Yes.
Information spreads like wildfire
Correct.
these days.
Yeah,
And if you position yourself in the right position to be able to have a conversation with somebody that has a following, you know what I mean? Kind of like what we're doing here on the show.
Yep.
That information is then able to be spread in a way that 10 years ago, 15 years ago was never able to be
Sure.
spread. So,
What's crazy?
You
What
know,
you
it's-
just said. Think about it. In our business. Just think about
yeah.
it. 15 years ago, we just started doing full picture messaging with text messaging.
Dude, you know the phone that I was selling 15 years ago?
Yeah,
It was
I was with you. It was the I-95.
It was the I-95. It was, so I worked at
first color
Singular at
screen.
the
Yeah,
time.
first color
Nextel.
screen, Nextel.
I was
phone.
working Singular at the time.
Yeah.
The hotness at that point was the V60.
Yes.
And
Yeah, the
then you
Motorola
had
V60.
you had the V60C with the color screen.
StarTech.
StarTech, the Motorola V400, the
Yeah.
551, and then the game changer
Yep.
was the Razr.
Yep.
I remember when the Razr came out with a 1.3 megapixel camera.
Yep. It was like, wow.
It was
Yeah.
And it was
it was
this
the game.
thin.
It was
People
that
lost
thin.
their
It was
minds.
this
game
thing
changer.
closed.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Look at he's
Yeah.
reflecting. He's like,
No, I
Like, man, I
remember.
used to have one back in the day. I think we all probably all had
I
one.
was 40 back then.
Yeah. Oh, you weren't 21 and a half like
Now I was
like
21 and a half
Junior?
like Junior
No?
is today. No.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at it from a technological standpoint,
yep.
information can be spread
Yes.
so quickly and so far that if you put yourself in the right position, you're
Yep.
going to be able to deliver a message and gain a following. And I think as much fun as we have with the show, we still want to kind of voice our opinion. We want people to
Yeah.
know, hey, we know our stuff.
Absolutely.
And for
Good for you.
sports novices or sports aficionados, you can listen to us and you can gain knowledge, and you can take that knowledge and execute water cooler talk, right?
Yeah,
You talked
exactly.
about it
That's
before.
exactly. That's
what we wanna
exactly.
do.
That's. It would help me. And
How are you guys promoting your show?
yeah.
So we have an Instagram page, frontrunnerspod. If anybody's interested in following us, please do. We appreciate it. Our personal, social media pages: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Myself, Pat, our wives do a great job of promoting it for us as well. Pat and I we run the social media page for the most part. So we try to be as interactive as we can. And over the last couple of days, we put some polls on to, get people's opinions on what's going on with, NFL and NBA and all that stuff. So it's usually just, Instagram and then our personal social media pages.
In August, AT might invite you guys over to do one for CFL.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the
Done.
Chaldean Football League.
Done.
So
Done.
we might get you on for you guys.
Done.
Do a little interview.
Yeah, we'd be
How did
happy
you guys
to.
hear about keeping up with the Chaldeans?
So a very good friend of mine, Bruce Kalu. Shout out Bruce.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on
My
the show.
man
He's a
Bruce.
podiatrist.
Yes.
I've known
Great
Bruce
guy.
he's the best. I've known
man.
him for a very long time.
Yep.
Stood up in my wedding. He's
Anything
like,
I DM him with, whatever it has,
Yeah.
he's firing off. With
He's
no
the man.
problem.
He's the man.
He saved me more than Geico did.
Yeah. So I saw that he was on the show, and we were all together for a buddy of mine's proposal party, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, can you give me the contact info of these guys? We want to jump on the show for the podcast." And I approached Pat about it, and he's like, "Let's do it." So you guys were gracious enough to put us on the show. So
Yeah, man.
Well, we're glad to have you. We were looking
Yeah.
forward to it actually. When you
I was
reached out.
excited. I was really excited.
He when you guys sent it, he called me right after. He's like, "Hey, you see these guys?
Yeah.
They got a podcast or
Yeah.
sports." Because he's a big sports fanatic
Yeah,
himself too. So, by the way, if you ever seen him, he's usually went back in the days front.
Oh, believe me, I've seen your
Pistons.
Facebook photos. I've seen those before.
You've seen him a lot
I've
of
seen those
times.
before.
If there was
Yeah.
any shit talker on that front row,
it was always AT.
That was AT. You'd always see that.
Those
So
were fun. Those were fun days.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was pretty excited to have you guys on. And we are too. It doesn't whether in your own world you think small, big, whatever. Everybody's big to us that comes on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
man.
everybody's got something that can give the next person either motivation or give them the ability to have the courage to take that first step.
Yeah, so you took something that you liked,
Yep.
something
Yeah.
that you enjoy, something like you said is fun. So you took something fun and you made something legit out of it.
you're creating a.
But it's consistency. You got to have that consistency.
Yeah.
Like you said you're every Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you're not consistent, then don't waste your time.
We even did it. We wanted to make sure that we even did shows around the holidays.
Yeah.
And for scheduling purposes, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fell on Tuesdays this year.
Yes.
And we were kind of going back and forth. Do we want to record? Do we want to take a couple weeks off? And we just thought about it. There's just so much stuff going on.
Right.
Plus,
From-
you want to tell
in
you
the
something
sports
about
world.
that? The crazy part, what you're saying?
Yeah.
In that social media, the fast-paced world that you're talking about, that quick 1 week, 2 week
Oh, yeah.
is out of sight, out of mind to
Uh-huh.
people.
Yep.
I just noticed that just from like not posting. If I don't post for a week, and then I post again, it doesn't get as much as my momentum as I was consistently
Social
doing.
media is all about timing.
Yes.
And these types of shows are all about timing as well.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea, let's record on Monday for a Tuesday release. We did that for the 23rd and the 30th. So we kept that momentum going now. We're on our regular Tuesday, Wednesday schedule.
Gotcha.
But, we wanted to make sure that we stayed as consistent as possible with it. And I think to your point, going 3 weeks in between shows, one, there's a lot of information that isn't able to be covered.
Yeah.
Sure.
And two, and most importantly, people probably may not remember that we have a podcast.
Right.
That's how quickly these
Yep.
things change. So
Yep.
we're glad we did it. We want to keep the momentum going. We want to keep the consistency going and just continue to take it to the next level. Most of all, just have as much fun with it as we can.
Bro, we had a backlog of episodes that we could release during that time, even though we took a week, 2 weeks off.
We took Christmas week and New Year's week off, but we
Yeah.
piled so much before. Ours is a little bit different because
Yeah.
we don't have to have that relevant information that
Right.
passes, so we're able to do that. Which where you guys do, you have to stay
Yeah.
consistent with
And that's one of the biggest
Times.
reasons why we didn't take any
Well,
break.
bro, look,
you know
look
what I
at
mean?
it look at it like this, man. If you think about what you two offer, you offer two of the biggest ice-breaking conversations: technology,
Yeah.
because it's what we use day in day out, and sports, man. So if anybody wants AT&T,
Yeah.
23 and Hayes.
okay, if anybody
I-
wants
yeah.
AT&T, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna need one soon, so I guess I'll
Yeah.
upgrade.
You know who to call now.
Yep.
Yeah, care
So
of
so
you.
AT&T with you guys, and then you get the conversations about the sports. And like I said, I would have never thought it this way, but you just, and I'm sure the viewers will see this. Like,
Yeah.
shit, I get to go on your guys' podcast and know what's going on. So then later when I go to have lunch with AT, I can say, yeah, number whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And sound actually like I know what I'm talking
You're
about.
welcome.
You know?
Yeah.
Thank you. So you opened it up now. Now I'm trying to wait for the next one where I figure, how do I break the ice with women to talk about, hey, you want to date? Hey.
I don't know if we've perfected that yet.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's still elementary.
I'm 45. I haven't perfected it yet.
No. Yeah, we may have to work on that. Might be the next level. That might be the 2020 vibe.
The next podcast.
Who are some of your favorite players of all times in each of the sports?
Oh man, football. I mean, it's you're local here. It's got to be Barry Sanders.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's what he's what got me into football.
Yeah.
I remember how excited everybody
amazing,
was
man.
when he was drafted, and my first real memories of Lions football started in '91.
Okay.
When we actually made the playoffs.
That was a good year,
and we won a playoff
so
game.
long ago.
And we took it to Dallas that year.
Yeah.
And I remember, Pops having a playoff party at the house with all the uncles and
then we went to Philly, right?
Washington.
Oh, Washington, yeah.
Yeah, that didn't go so
rocked.
well. That didn't go so well.
Yeah.
Pops broke his first remote.
Oh, jeez.
First ever or first of many?
No, the first of many.
Okay.
First of many.
I thought so.
That one didn't turn the TV off. The other ones that he broke, actually, simultaneously the TV went off.
Oh, jeez.
So we were done watching football for the day that day.
Yeah.
Basketball, man, it's tough. I grew up loving obviously the Pistons, but Magic Johnson was a guy that I loved.
Machine.
Yeah. Baseball, Cecil Fielder.
Yeah.
Cecil Fielder when I was a kid.
He used to shop at our stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was friends with our butcher and Mike Yasso. Hey, Mike. And he used to come fill up fucking 7-8 baskets and spring prints in with him.
Yeah.
When he was a baby.
Yeah.
That's wild.
As a kid, yeah.
For me, football, Barry, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Big Tom Brady fan.
Yeah.
Randy Moss is a big favorite of mine. Ray Lewis has always been a big favorite
Ray
of mine
Lewis
as
is
well.
probably number 2 for me.
Wow.
Basketball. Honestly, for me, it was always Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett. And I've talked about it with a lot of people. When I really got enamored with the game, when I got like maybe 9-10 years old, when I was able to watch it a little bit more and understand it a little bit more, Kobe and Kevin Garnett were the guys that came into the league, and they came right out of high school, and I wasn't that far off from getting into high school. And I'm like, man, these young guys are dunking and shooting and playing so well and this and that. And
I get the Kobe thing, but the Kevin Garnett in Minnesota, how did you watch him?
It was
When did you see
a
him?
lot of YouTube highlights.
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
lot of Sports Center. It was a lot of tape delays back in the
it's
day.
Not really. We really never caught them on TV.
Yeah,
here.
but
they didn't get many.
Right.
They didn't, but the more relevant they got,
TNT
he
games.
got into the playoffs a lot and everything,
Right,
and he
yeah.
had more nationally televised games. But back in the day, it was a lot of like YouTube highlights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would watch him, and I would watch his intensity. I watch the way he played, and I always just gravitated to those two guys specifically. And obviously, Bad Boy Pistons and Jordan and players like that. From a baseball perspective, Cabrera, obviously. Cecil Fielder.
That's new blood. That's
Yeah,
old blood.
Ken Griffey Jr. was always a favorite of mine.
Beast.
Pedro Martinez was a favorite of mine from as far as pitchers.
Sure.
Hockey was always Steve Yzerman,
Oh, yeah.
Fedorov. Just
Not
that whole.
Probert?
The gang.
Yeah, I mean,
Probert's a better fighter.
Yeah, he was. He
Provo
was.
fun, but I think you guys are a little young to see
Yeah.
all those battles, the real battles with Ty Domi and.
Oh,
I mean, I remember
Crowder
them. Yeah,
and-
I remember.
Everybody looked forward
reminiscing
to the
on
Ty
them.
I remember the
Domi
new
Prober
age,
fights.
the mid-'90s ones.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that...
I remember a lot of the mid-'90s stuff. That's
Yeah.
my dad started watching them right as they got like really good, like 94, 95, when they were winning the President's Cups and getting to the deep into the playoffs. But it was always Steve Yzerman. Sergei Fedorov was a big favorite of mine.
Fedorov was sweet too.
Yeah, he was.
Pops was just a big sports fan.
Yeah.
Same.
Is he still with us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. God
Huge
bless.
sports fan, man. Majority of the conversations I have with my dad today revolve around sports. Like, that's literally all we talk about. We talk about sports or we talk about my son.
What
That's
was
it.
your dad's business?
My dad actually worked for Chrysler for 43 years.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And your father's name?
Tom.
Okay.
Tom
Nice.
Dabish. TD.
Yep,
Touchdown.
TD. Yeah.
Touchdown.
Yeah, man.
Touchdown
Dad.
Tom.
I think he's a bigger. It's the two sports for him were were football and hockey.
Yeah.
Sometimes like hockey took the front seat, when Red Wings were good in the 90s, but football was still king in my house.
Yeah.
My dad be watching the games by himself, and he's still talking to the TV even though none of us are there anymore. my mom
she's from the kitchen.
Yeah,
dude.
dude,
Like,
my mom
nah.
drives my mom nuts. Sometimes my mom will just call me and just like have me listen to it. I'm like, you know what? I listened to that for way too long. I'm good.
I was watching Pistons Spurs game one day, and it was a playoff, and I don't know if it was game 5 or 6 or something. And I was at my friend's house, and he wasn't there. And he's got a kitchen island, Bobby's house. So they lost, and I went in the kitchen, and I pushed the top of his cabinet off, and I pushed his whole cabinet. I mean,
This must have been Game 5 when Ori hit the
Ori hit the 3. I was standing right there. I was standing right there. If you look at the replay, you'll see a guy in a cowboy hat standing up right behind Ori and yelling at him. That motherfucker was stone cold. He didn't even look at me flinch, and I was from here to there, and I'm yelling in his fucking ear. And you can see me on, like, if you see the highlights.
I'm gonna have to watch
I have to rewatch that, even though it's gonna hurt when I rewatch it.
That was so bad.
That was a bad series.
One
had a lot of
time I went
stingers
on the Pistons plane. I went to it was a West trip. It was a Dallas, Texas trip. It was San Antonio and then Dallas. So I got courtside at the, Jesus. The guy that he's one of their
they're
fans.
super fans.
Yeah. Jesus Spurs, Jesus whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to him, and I have a picture with him. We're like kind of faking. Like,
Yeah.
And when Brandon Jennings, I don't know if you remember, Brandon Jennings hit the shot, and then he came running over. Like
I think that was the game after they let Josh Smith go, and they ended up winning like 8 straight.
Yes,
and I think that was one of the first games that they won.
So I was there that
like
game,
that.
and then we went to Dallas, and there's these 4 guys that go to one game a year that they're college buddies, and I'm yelling from like the 5th row. And I'm yelling, and I shut down the fucking stadium, like I shut it down, like. And they sent the guy that I was with, one of the Pistons reps, an email saying, "Man, that guy you were with, I've never seen anyone shut down a whole entire stadium because we won Dallas and San Antonio that
Texas
year."
2-step.
Yeah, and he sent an email, like a long, drawn-out email about, "I've never seen anybody shut down a crowd. That your buddies, talking about this and talking about that, and I can't believe it, and we had so much fun with you guys, but fuck you guys, don't come back." Don't come back.
It's a very passive-aggressive email.
That was hilarious.
Oh man, that's gotta be good.
Yeah, that's good. To your point earlier, we have had a lot of stingers in Detroit sports.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
Yeah, since Boston and Pistons, man.
Yeah,
that was a bad one.
Yeah.
The Pistons failures those really stink. But I think none of them compare to the Lions.
No.
What about the Tayshaun block though? Let's go positive here.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
That was
great.
I was there.
That propelled us, man.
Block.
That propelled us.
Yeah.
That was.
We won the back-to-back because of that, wasn't it? That year, or was
so
it
in
back-to-back.
That was in 2004. And then
we
lost
had
in
a
Game
gap.
7
Yep.
to San Antonio the next year.
And then we came back and beat Lakers, wasn't it?
That was Lakers that year. Yeah, it was
That
the
was
Lakers
the
that
year
year.
we beat the Lakers.
But yeah, that game was that series was crazy because you had 2 of the best defensive teams in the league.
Oh yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Game 6 was the one that they won to get them to the finals. Ended like 66-61. And that's a halftime score these days.
Yeah. That was our team. That we
It
were
was.
under 70s. We some made 8 or 9 games in a
Yeah.
row. We held
Yeah.
our opponents under 70s.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I remember that.
Yeah, Tayshaun's block helped Rashid's guaranteed.
Yeah.
That was Game 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh my
he guaranteed
God.
Game 2 after we lost Game 1.
Yeah.
Tayshaun saved him because
Yeah,
she
he
didn't
really
have a
did.
great
No.
game.
No,
I think he had like 9-10 points. It wasn't the greatest game in the world.
And Sheed was the one that lagged off of Ori.
Yeah, he was. I don't honestly though. I don't necessarily blame him for that series.
No.
You're tied going into the 4th quarter of Game 7 on the road.
Yeah.
You've got every opportunity.
Yeah, we were up by 8 at some point.
You've got every opportunity. I think that the thing that killed us was Chauncey getting in foul trouble early in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Picked up 2 very quick fouls, got him out of his rhythm, and you know as well as anyone, Chauncey and Rip, their chemistry was.
Oh yeah.
It was so fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Screen, mid-range, the whole thing.
Screen, pop three.
Yeah,
screen,
exactly.
Pop three.
So for you to kind of get out of your rhythm against a team that you really can't make mistakes against in San Antonio,
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
you need a full complement of players. You need to play almost perfect, and they couldn't get it done.
Wasn't it Big Nasty or Mr. Nasty? What they call
Corliss Williamson?
No,
Mr. Big Shot.
Mr. Big Shot.
Yeah.
Mr. Big Shot.
But a lot of people don't give San Antonio credit for being such a dynasty.
For the run that they had. We had that on our show.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we talked about their dynasty. How something like that, you probably won't see that in the NBA ever again.
No. And I think the main reason why is because there's so much movement these days.
The free agency.
With free agency.
The player contracts are different, player options.
Yeah, we talked about it with our NBA preview. I don't remember a time where there was so much parity in the NBA where there wasn't a guaranteed team that was the overwhelming prohibitive favorite to win the championship. Like in the last 5 years, it's always been Golden State.
Yeah.
And before that, it was
Miami.
It was LeBron. It was LeBron and the Big Three, and they're going to win the championships.
Before or whatever.
Yeah, and then now you don't really have a team that's got 3 megastars on it. Mm-hmm. It's 2 top flight superstars. Depending on how you rank them.
You just have. It's like saying general manager and assistant manager.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as I think it's great for the NBA. I think the movement is really, really positive, and I think that's what's brought so much parity to the league is that you could look at 6, 7, 8 teams that have a legitimate shot at winning a championship, and that number could change 3 to 4 months down the line. You could have a trade, you could have an injury, you could have somebody that elevates their game to put themselves in position. So I think over the last few years there hasn't been a lot of that, which I think it's great for the NBA now that you've got so many players that are spread out and it gives teams a chance.
So who's going to win the NBA championship? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Ooh, championship. We talked about it for the NBA. I think it's the Clippers.
Anybody who wins on these picks.
Yeah. I want to cut.
Keeping up with the Chaldeans and these guys get cut.
We want our
front
restitution.
runners and keeping up with the Chaldeans get 10% for each.
Yes.
And if they don't come through, we're going to delete this episode.
Fair enough. Done. I think it's Clippers over Sixers in the NBA.
I like the Lakers, man. I still think LeBron and AD. You're having 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA on one team.
Yeah, either one can go for 50.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody's going to be able to really, stop them in a 7-game series.
Yeah, they're a problem. As far as the Super Bowl goes, initially we talked about it off air. I had Chiefs over Eagles in the Super Bowl. Obviously, my Eagles pick went to shit. Mm-hmm. I still have faith in my Chiefs. I think they're cooking. I think they're playing really well right now. As far as teams coming out of the NFC, we talked about it, man. I like Seattle a lot. Yeah. Man. Russell Wilson masks a lot of their deficiencies. He's playing at an MVP caliber level.
Marshall's back.
Marshawn's back. That's going to juice him up a little bit. I mean, it's wide open in the and in really both conferences. I think it's really wide open, but specifically in the NFC, I think it's super wide open. I think you can make a case for any 4 of the teams that are left to have a legit shot to get to the Super Bowl. But my money is going to be on Seattle. I don't know how confident. I don't know how that pick's going to work out, but I really like Seattle.
Chiefs over Packers.
Chiefs over Packers.
So you want the shootout?
Yeah, I want the shootout. I want, after last year's Super Bowl, I need touchdowns. I need touchdowns.
Yeah. I feel like the games that have great quarterback play have always been like really good games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you've got gunslingers and teams that have really truly elite quarterbacks. Like over the last couple of years, you've seen Atlanta, New England, Philly, New England. You know what I mean? A lot of offense, a lot of points scored. I think that's good for the game. I think it's good for Super Bowls. I think it's entertaining. So I think either one of the picks that we have, you're going to have fantastic quarterback play with any one of those games.
Good. Cool. You guys got some encouraging words? Anything you want to give these younger viewers or anybody that's
looking to start a podcast?
Yeah, looking to start a podcast. Anything that would motivate them, sports or anything that you guys want to give them some words of encouragement.
Just start it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just do it. If it's on your mind, do it. If it wasn't for Norm, hitting me up and bringing it to light, I would have never done it because I didn't know how to get it started.
Right.
Norm was the one that got the wheels in motion.
Yep.
He's the tech guy.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, all it is YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't he's a tech guy, but
Yeah, no, it's
people think I'm a tech guy, but all I do is YouTube, Google. I mean,
honestly,
YouTube
it was a lot of
together.
Google searches.
Yeah.
You know, I think Pat gives me too much credit. It's very elementary in terms of how to create it, and I think that's the most encouraging thing about it. Like, right? Like
It's the content. Really.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm like, how do I do this? How do I create this? Right? How do I get to the Joe Rogan experience level,
Sure.
right? He's got 1,500 episodes. My brother and I talk about it all the time. Like, maybe I don't want to do this. I don't know where this is going to go. And he referenced Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and he said, listen to episode 1, watch episode 1, and then watch episode 1,500.
Yep. So
right?
Yeah, my boy said.
And the evolution is so much. It's a complete 180.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's looking to do something like that, or really anything in general, if you want to start anything,
And
just do it.
Yeah, and you have a passion. If you have a passion about something, being able to go week after week after week, it'll give you the ability to dig deeper into your passion.
Yeah.
So you have a passion. Now you get to work around your passion and be part of your passion. So, like they said, just do it.
Yeah, and I think the coolest thing about it is that the show, for me at least, the show holds me accountable. Like I know my stuff. I know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But I can't go on the show and just wing it
Right.
without having my research.
Sure.
Not because I don't want to sound inferior to Pat, who I know knows his stuff.
Yep.
Right? And I want to win every debate that I have with Pat or any one of my friends, and my friends will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But now we have a following. We have listenership.
Gotta sound
I don't want to
educated.
sound like an idiot.
No, you gotta be educated.
I have to be educated. I have to know my stuff. So from an accountability standpoint, and I think my job has taught me a lot of that.
Yep.
Fact check.
You got to fact check. You got to hold yourself accountable. You have to make sure that you're right in everything that you do. And when you have an opinion on something, you have to back that opinion up with facts.
Right.
And you can't just have it be off the cuff because you're just going to sound uneducated.
Sure.
And the fact that we have a following now that are expecting us to know our stuff, we've got to know our stuff. And I think that's a great component that's taught me a lot about
Makes sense.
doing this the right way.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else that we may have not covered that you guys want to talk about?
We're available on Apple Podcasts. We're available on radio.com. We're available on Google Podcasts, Google Play or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And we're also available on SoundCloud. We have an Instagram account, frontrunnerspod. You can find us. Tune in, download, plug in, give us feedback. We like the feedback. We like the reviews.
Yeah.
Interact with us on Instagram. We love the back and forth. I don't know, whatever else you want to add.
I'd love to be a guest on your show.
Love to have you guys.
Done.
Me personally, I'll do the fact check. And I'll go ahead and just get some questions ready.
Yeah.
But you three are gonna be really.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Why don't we do one for the Super Bowl?
Let's do it. I'm more of an NBA guy, but I'll.
All right, let's do this. If the Super Bowl doesn't work,
Yep.
we'll bring you in for the playoffs.
Sounds good.
All right, I think we just booked our first guest.
Cool.
Done.
I'm with it. That should the playoff one for the NBA should be a doozy.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
one's gonna
wait.
be
That
fun.
one's gonna be good.
That one's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, we would love to reciprocate.
More than
that.
welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
So before we go, I want to ask each of you, what does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
Everything.
Everything.
It really does, man. From our culture to our food.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just it's awesome. It really is. Family, the most important thing. You don't see it too often. How close Chaldean people really are.
Yep. In other cultures.
I'm saying
Right.
in other cultures. That's what I like about it. Like my brothers are my best friends.
Yeah.
And I've met other cultures where they don't really even converse with their siblings
Right.
after a certain age. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, it's great. I love it.
To echo what he was talking about, I think even more so being Chaldean, I think just being Catholic. Like I think our religion and our faith really brings us all together, and I think it it brings such an open-mindedness to things, and I think it opens the doors for, you know, a lot of different things. And I think for me, I look at it from a family perspective, obviously with the holidays kind of coming and going, you know, getting together for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and just having all of the traditions that we have, right, from the food to
Pacha.
I'm not a pacha guy. Everybody knows
Listen,
that.
I'll
I don't
take
mess
your
with it,
plate
man.
whenever they bring it.
Yeah.
I'll sit right next to you. You can
Done.
have
I'll
it.
bring you 2 plates. I'll pass it over.
I'll split
Everybody
it with
wins.
you. I'll split it
Everybody
with
wins.
you.
But I look at it from the food, family, loyalty, just the tight-knit nature of everything, and just the culture that we have and our history. I take a lot of pride in that, and you know, I try to instill that in my daily life. And you know, I'm an expectant father. My wife and I are due later this summer, and I want to thank you, and I want to be able to instill a lot of those values in my kids, God willing, and you know, continue to lead that charge. So
do you guys just curious, you know, before we go, do you guys both speak Spudeth?
I do.
I don't.
Not as fluent as I used to be.
Sure.
But it's I've been starting to speak it a lot more. My wife doesn't speak it at all. But I kind of want to like start teaching my son a little bit.
Try
you know what I
pass
mean?
that on to them. Just
I really
for the sake
want
of
to.
preserving it,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
My Arabic is a little bit. My Arabic's okay,
Yeah.
but I don't speak a lick of Sudat, and mainly that's because like my parents, my mom specifically, my mom came here when she was 9 years old.
Sure.
She's very Americanized.
Yes.
My dad came here when he was like 23, 24. So they spoke English primarily
Gotcha.
in the house.
Same.
And my dad doesn't speak any Chaldean. So my parents spoke Arabic in the house. That's why I picked it up. But my Arabic has gotten a little bit better because I have to converse with my father-in-law in Arabic because he doesn't speak very much English.
That's great.
So I've kind of forced myself to get a little better there, but
that's
from a
great.
student's perspective, it's not there.
Cool. Well, thanks for guys taking your time out and
Thanks
coming
for
on
Thank
the
you.
show.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome
man.
having front
Grace
runners.
us
Appreciate
with
it.
your
As
thank you
awesome
for
having
your
it with you guys. So
sports knowledge.
Man, absolutely.
yeah. So make sure you guys, before we take off, check them out. They're on IG. You know, follow them, especially if you're sports fanatics like these guys. I mean, we have a lot of Chaldeans that are. Check them out. You know, and they've given you all the stuff that they're on, from all the channels that they're available to be able to listen when you're driving or whatever it may be.
And help you cheat in your fantasy.
Yeah.
leagues.
They might hook you up on that fantasy.
Or at least give you a leg up in the water cooler talk.
There you go. Yeah,
exactly.
there you go. So it's perfect for that.
Guys
so,
and girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's awesome.
The
So
two
make sure-
genders in the world that,
Yeah.
can both enjoy
There
this.
you go.
Yes, sir.
There
Yes.
you go.
So make sure you guys follow them. You know, give these guys some love and show them that. And we want to thank George Abro for sponsoring this show. too, as
Keystone,
well.
baby.
Yep, with Keystone. So we'll be seeing you guys soon, and it's on to a new year, 2020.
All right.